What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube. And today I've got a little something different that you guys seem to look forward to every year. Every year it's one of my most requested videos. We are bringing up at the end of 2022. Another year is already passing. It's going too fast. But I hope you guys are enjoying your holidays. I know that I am. I hope you guys are enjoying the year 2022 and looking forward to a new year. And I hope you saw a lot of good horror this year. Anyone that's on my channel for the horror movies knows that every year I always do the top 10 with 5 honorable mentions. Best horror movies of the year. Every year it's one of the ones most look forward to. Check out my new swag, Midnight Society, Are You Afraid of the Dark t-shirt. You're going to see this shirt a lot on this channel. But yes, I've got now, counting backwards from really 15, I've got my 5 honorable mentions, and I've got my top 10 horror films of 2022. I think it was a good year overall for horror. I saw a lot of things in theaters. I think I saw like 10 or so movies in theaters, and I enjoyed the vast majority of what I saw. Almost all of them I really enjoyed. A lot of them made this list. I also watched a lot of indie horror, which is really, really good. Horror's been really solid, in my opinion, for the past about 10 years now. It's been on quite a resurgence, and I think this year overall was really, really solid. We have a couple of movies here that I think are really, really good. Now, obvious disclaimers. Number one, this is my list. It's not going to be exactly yours. There's going to be some I have on this list that you don't have on yours, and some that you have on yours that I didn't like. Again, it's a matter of personal taste. Don't come at me in the comments. Don't cancel me. Don't kill me. It's just a list. I like some stuff you guys might not have liked, and vice versa. Also, I'll try and give you guys the places where all these movies are available to watch for those of you guys that want to watch the ones that you haven't seen yet. And if you want to see the individual reviews of these movies, most of the 15 movies on this list I have individually reviewed on this channel. So go back. I've started a movies tab now on my channel. Go back and check out the film reviews. I have almost all the ones that I've done from this year up there. You can see the individual breakdowns where I go into much more detail on all the movies on this list in my channel and other videos. So go check those out, please, as well. Also, there's some stuff that I haven't seen yet. I have not seen every single horror film in 2022. There's a good chance that I haven't seen some ones that would be on the list if I had seen them. So just know that I haven't seen everything. So here we go. Starting with the honorable mention section, 15 through 11. I'll count down backwards from lowest to highest. So honorable mentions, I got 5 that I thought were pretty good, really enjoyed them, but they weren't high enough to be on my actual top 10 list. Number 15 really surprised me overall. It is The Long Night. I only watched this because I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, this kind of looks similar to a movie that I'm currently working on. I co-wrote a feature film that I was an actor in this year, and I saw a trailer and I was like, oh, that kind of reminds me of the film we're doing right now. I should watch this for research. So I watched it and I saw that Scout Taylor Compton was in the trailer. I'm a huge fan of hers. Love Scout Taylor Compton. So I watched it for her. Thankfully, it wound up not being like our film at all, but it did wind up being pretty solid. It was a fun film. There's some pacing issues here and there, but it's got a cult demonic kind of thing going on. Couple goes away for a weekend, winds up being stalked in the woods. Lots of trippy stuff, some fever dream stuff. Couple different genres going on here, some possession, some demon stuff. Pretty cool. Some fun jump scares, some good tension. Overall, I enjoyed this one. Now, number 14. This one's kind of divisive. Don't Worry, Darling. This one just came out onto streaming. I think I saw The Long Night on Shudder. It's either on Shudder or Tubi right now. Don't Worry, Darling is on HBO Max. That's where I saw it. I didn't get to watch it in theaters, but I did see it on streaming. And all in all, I really enjoyed this one. I thought Florence Pugh was really, really good. I thought Harry Styles was good too. I know a lot is made about this film having backstage drama and the cast not getting along and the replacements and all this stuff. Overall, though, it was pretty fun. It's very Stepford Wives-esque. You've probably seen it before. It's not something that's going to revolutionize the genre. It's got some kind of like dystopian, kind of sci-fi elements to it. And again, it's not super original. It's very Stepford Wives-like, and there's a lot of sci-fi films that kind of embody this replacement style horror. But it's pretty solid. It's pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well paced, and I thought the casting was well done. So it's not for everyone, but it was for me. Number 13, My Best Friend's Exorcism. I was very excited about this coming in because I read the Grady Hendrix book earlier this year. Really loved the book. I think the book's even better than the movie. And then I heard that Chris Landon was one of the writers on this, who's famous for Happy Death Day and stuff like that, and Freaky. and those kind of movies. So good writer, good source material. I was excited. This one is currently on Amazon Prime for free, so go check it out if you get the chance. It's a little juvenile. It's a little childish. It's definitely in that teenage kind of realm where the dialogue's a little bit juvenile and some of the scares are a little silly, a little bit of CGI here and there. It's not perfect. But overall, I thought it was a pretty well-paced script. I thought the dialogue was pretty fun, and I thought the bond of the characters was good, and I thought it was close to the source material. I thought it was pretty accurate to what the book had described. Again, I think the book is better overall, so if you want to check out the book, you should do that. But this film is pretty fun, and it's a pretty fast film to watch, so I would recommend this one as my number 13. Number 12, I've got a couple Shudder ones on this list, and this one I really enjoyed. Who Invited Them? I found this on Shudder. I think it's also on Tubi, but I'm pretty sure it's a Shudder exclusive. Who Invited Them is about a couple that throws a party, and they wind up being, the last guests at their party wind up being the neighbors of theirs they had never seen before, and these neighbors are pretty aggressive and have some attitude issues, and you come to find out that nobody is what they seem to be. So it's very much it starts kind of innocent and fun and gets into some thriller, stalker, psychological stuff. Some really out there scenes, a couple of really tense things. The characters are really acted at a high pitch, that they're kind of like over the top characters, but it works for these characters. I think they're well designed. For being mostly a 4-character film, I think they carry it well. The dialogue is really good between them, and I like the casting in this. So I think Who Invited Them is one of my underrated gems for 2022. This is one that's not on most people's radars. I haven't heard it on anybody else's list, but I think Who Invited Them would be a nice lower entry in your top 10 this year if it makes it. It was my number 12. Number 11, this one could be a little controversial because I've heard that it's a lot higher on most people's list. That is Barbarian. I saw this one in theaters, and I think it is now currently on HBO Max if you want to stream it. Really enjoyed Barbarian. I saw it in theaters, and I liked it. I reviewed it already on this channel, so go check out the review. But I thought the transfer in scenes, going from one tense thing to starting a new scene, was jarring, but it was an interesting choice. I liked what they showed of the antagonist. I liked the little bit of story behind the antagonist. I just kind of wanted more. I wanted a more fleshed out story, which again goes to show this story is well written. I just wanted more to it. I wanted to be not taken out of the tension so much with the abrupt changes. I wanted a little more story in each one of the sections where it almost felt like an anthology that connects at the end. I wanted a little more for each part. So while I really enjoyed Barbarian, and it definitely deserves mention here, it only goes to my number 11, and I know some of you guys have it higher. Now we're into the top 10. We're into the official top 10 here. Here go my choices. This one was much lower on the list at first, and after a rewatch, I changed my mind. Scream 5. This was the first thing I saw in theaters back in, I think, January. Now I think it's on HBO Max or one of those streamers, so go check it out if you get the chance. Again, when I first watched it in theaters, I thought it was too much like Scream 4. I thought it didn't separate itself that much. I like that the writing and directing teams have a lot of reverence for Wes Craven. I was nervous coming into it. I thought it was a well done movie in theaters, but I didn't think it was separating itself enough from the fourth one, and I didn't like the resolutions as much as I wanted to. And then I rewatched it, and I watched some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I talked myself into a little more. I like it a little more in hindsight watching it back again. If you watch it more as a standalone or more as another sequel that's not compared directly to 4, you're going to like it a lot more. And if you're not going to be as harsh on every single beat making the most sense, I think you're going to like it a little more. So I started with this one being lower, wound up with this in my top 10. Big fan of the Scream series. Again, 5 is not the best sequel. It's not the most well-made. I think 2 and 4 and probably even 3 are better. It might be the weakest in the Scream franchise, but still definitely not a bad movie. Number 9, an underrated gem for the year, Slapface. I saw this on Shudder. It may still be on there, but I think it's on Tubi as well. I know Walmart's got it for sale on DVD also. Slapface is a very fun movie to me. I really enjoyed this, and it was high on my list up until about mid-year, and a bunch of stuff came along. It was just a really good year for horror, which goes to show why a movie as good as Slapface can be all the way down at 9. A lot of allegorical stuff here, a lot of really good scares, some slow burn stuff early on, which then turns the tension and the pacing up in the second half. I thought it was a well-told story with well-written characters. The brother bond is nice. The scares are nice. There's a lot of hidden meanings and deeper moments behind this movie, so it's not just your standard killer movie, and it's not just some kind of ghost. There's a reason behind what's happening, and it means a lot. It's going to reflect a lot to society in this movie, and I want to see more from Jeremiah Kipp, who I think did a great job in directing this. Number 8 is another kind of underrated one for me that I saw on Netflix this year, Choose or Die. Pretty simple. Again, nothing revolutionary. Kids are playing a video game. They get sucked into the video game. You've seen it before with like Videodrome and Brain Scan and what other one? Stay Alive is like this. But overall, and when I reviewed Choose or Die, I just thought it was a fun watch. I thought the kills were good. I thought Robert Englund's voice being lended to this was an awesome thing. I enjoyed the two main characters' bond, and I liked that they all had reasons for trying to get out of this game and make the money and win the prizes for personal, for gains for their families and things like that. So there was more story behind it, and the game sequences were fun without taking you out of the action. So all in all, I enjoyed this one more than most did this year at number 8. Number 7, now we're getting into some real heavy hitters, Smile. I really enjoyed Smile, and I would recommend if you can. I'm not sure if it's still in theaters now, but I saw this in theaters, and I think it's one of the best theater experiences that I've had in a while. This kind of movie lends itself to a theater-going experience, where you get a lot of good jump scares that make you jump. You get a lot of moments that make you kind of cringe and pull back in your seat. You get a lot of sound design and camera design moments where things go awry. You get a song that goes a few notes into the darker tones. You get a camera that does some upside down and sideways shots that make you feel uneasy because you know something is different about the scene. The tension in this movie is one of the best of the year, and I really enjoyed the way this was done. Again, not for everyone, and it's not going to be revolutionary. I mean, but you don't get to know as much about the antagonist as you would like to, and that's why it's number 7. But I think overall, just turn the lights out, get your popcorn, watch with a friend, and enjoy the jump scares and enjoy kind of the tracking of the killer. Really fun stuff here. Number 6, X. This marks the first time that I have 2 A24 movies in my top 6. I know, who am I this year, right? Crazy. But X was a very fun theater experience for me. Set in the 70s, a bunch of friends go out to a remote cabin to rent like an Airbnb-style cabin to shoot porn movies to make money in the movie industry. They come across an old couple who is not content in their current situation, and we see we see some good gore, we see some good score, we see some really nice character development in the second half of the film, and we see a lot of themes about youth and desire and opportunities that come into play to make this more than just your standard slasher. It's authentic to its time period, and it's got some meat on the bone, which led us to 2 other films. Pearl, that came out this same year, which we'll hear about in a few minutes, and also Maxine, which is coming out next year, which is the sequel to X. So Pearl's the prequel, X is the current day, and then the sequel is Maxine. I cannot wait to see Maxine because Mia Goth is so good. The casting in this is great. Go check it out. Now we have number 5, the most controversial, top 5, the most controversial entry in my list. This is the one that people are going to be like, we don't know about this one. I saw this in theaters, and I think I'm the only person that actually enjoyed it. The Invitation. It's the trailer you've all seen where a sister comes across her long-lost brother and gets reunited on a trip with with distant family she had never known she had, who's kind of like royalty. So all of a sudden, this basic person who's down on their luck has now come across this well-to-do brother and this well-to-do family in this mansion, and we get some twists that are way different than we expect. And I think that's why I like it. Yes, it is an overdone genre. Yes, it does subvert your expectations to a crazy degree, but I think that's why I enjoyed it. Yeah, there were some moments that were cheesy. Yeah, there were some questions that you have that you're like, I'm not sure if that really connects. But I think that's what made me enjoy it so much, because it goes really quickly. I like the main character. I like the survival tactics, and I like the cat and mouse game. This one reminded me of Ready or Not a lot from last year or 2 years ago, that I really, really enjoyed. And I know most people don't like this one, but I like this one. That's my number 5. Number 4, The Menu. What a fun movie. One of the last things that I just saw in theaters. Really enjoyed this movie. The layout's fun. They have a lot of good comedy. It's a nice blend of horror and comedy. Ralph Fiennes, How do you pronounce that? He's really good in this. Anya Taylor-Joy is really good in this. All the characters have reasons to be there. The comedy's blended in well. The horror aspects are good. It's not going to revolutionize anything. The ending is kind of predictable, but I like it. I like it overall. It's a different setting to have a chef be kind of the main character and have food be the backdrop to a horror movie. I really enjoyed this. Number 3, top 3 now. These are all bangers. Revealer, my favorite Shudder movie of the year. Really, really fun movie. Basically a stripper and a very over-the-top religious zealot who don't like each other and hate each other's lifestyles get stuck together underground in the apocalypse and have to overcome their own biases and their own prejudices and rely on each other to survive. And as you come through the movie, it's this two-character study of these polar opposites who are both very strong and have so much more than just their outer characteristics. And they find they have so much more in common than just what they expected of each other. And that's very, very cool. It seems like an obvious, almost a cliched kind of background, but I think we need something like this in 2022. I think love thy neighbor and look beyond the scope of your own vision of people is really important. And there's just, as we go along, as these characters rely on each other, the emotion's so high, the stakes get higher and higher. You get a bunch of cool demons and moments of scares, but you get the unveiling of why these characters are the way they are. Why they were raised the way they were and what made them hateful can also now make them more loving. So I really enjoy the layers in this movie. It's one of the best character studies of the year. Well done to the Revealer team. I think we're friends on Twitter now, and that's not why this is so high. I love this movie. I'm so glad that I seek these people out, and I cannot wait to see what they do next. Number 2, one of the best things that I saw in theaters this year, The Black Phone. I really enjoyed Ethan Hawke in this. Speaking about character studies, and I wish there was more Ethan Hawke in this movie, they don't show enough of him or enough of the why behind him, but I like this. You get some ghost story stuff on the phone. It kind of reminds me of like an Are You Afraid of the Dark tale, kids trying to survive, brothers and sisters teasing each other but relying on each other, overcoming a lot of dark themes, trying to survive this period killer and kind of figuring out how to rely on people that are no longer there, if that makes any sense. I'm not going to spoil it. The review's already up on my channel. Go check it out. But man, did I love this movie. What a fun time. And I hope we get more of these. I hope we can find a way to get more of this kind of as a franchise with more Ethan Hawke as the main character, because what a fun character that is. Number 1, my favorite movie of 2022. Speaking of character studies, that's my theme in the top 3. All 3 of these are character studies. And that is Pearl. An A24 movie makes my number 1. I am so glad that Ty West has this series, and he's infused his slow burn, well-paced, well, it's kind of an oxymoron, but a slow burn. Ty West is a slow burn developing director, but he's got such a good vision, and he knows how to do characters, and he knows how to blend things together and make things scary. He's so good at this. And Pearl is even better, in my opinion, than X, because Mia Goth plays this character where you just rely on her facial so much. You rely on her tears. You rely on her eyes to show you what's going on in her mind. You see a slow burn from somebody who just wants to be recognized and loved and appreciated, turning into somebody who would do anything to make their dreams come true. You get good gore. You get moments that are sudden and impactful. You have good relationships, and you get these moments of long camera shots and monologues from one person having to carry entire scenes with nothing moving around them, just in their face. And Mia Goth delivers this as the single best horror performance of the year. This, to me, might be the best character study that I've seen since Psycho. 1960 Psycho. I'm sure there's a couple other ones that I loved, like May is one. May is one that I loved very much, and this reminds me of May a lot. But yeah, it's one of the best character studies that relies on one person to shine, who knocks it out of the park since Psycho. This is so good. Go see this. You can watch it with or without X, but it's so good. So there are my top 10/15 for 2022. What did you think? What is too low on my list? What's too high on my list? Did I leave anything out? Are there any that you want to hear about? Are there any of these that you want to see my reviews on? Go check those out. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell me in the comments below what you think of my list, and post your list down below. I would love to hear from you and talk to you and find other stuff that I haven't seen And I hope 2023 is just as strong in horror and just as strong in your lives as 2022 was. Enjoy the rest of your year, my friends. I will see you soon with more horror reviews and plenty more on this channel. Love yourselves and each other.